Hey, family, MarshaunO here, your favorite life and relationship strategist. And I help Christian women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift you to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated. Now, my mission here is to decrease the divorce rate while simultaneously increasing the marriage rate. And one way to do that is to help you with resources. So I want to invite you to download your free relationship resource library, where you have 10 resources within this resource library, such as how to create intimacy, because many of us need to spice it up, keep the intimacy going, right? And we need to do better at that. We're also talking about intimacy here today. So stick around after this, because we're going to talk about how to create everlasting intimacy today. Another thing that's in the relationship toolbox is how to deal with relationship disappointment, because whether we realize it or not, our partners may not be doing this on purpose, or they might, right? But we need to figure out how to deal with our relationship disappointments so things are not carrying over and over and over. Again, we want to be able to release that stuff from our relationship. So a way to do that is how to deal with the disappointment within your relationship. Another thing that's in the resource library is ways to improve your relationship. So do you need to figure out and find out what's in there so you can improve your own relationship? Think about where your relationship is today and how much better it could be if you have these strategies on how to make it better. You want the strategies, right? So go ahead and download your free relationship resource library. And then finally in there is a resource to help you create your relationship so you can be a part of the top 1% of couples that have extraordinary relationships. So go ahead, click the link down below, right? Click the link down below and definitely go ahead and download your free relationship resource library. I cannot wait to see you there, right? Go ahead and do that. So now let's get into today's content. How to create everlasting intimacy. I have 7 tips for you, so let's go ahead and jump in. The first one is to consistently express your needs and expectations. Most people think that your spouse or your partner is just supposed to know. Air quotes on purpose, because none of us are mind readers. So none of us are just going to know what you need. Your spouse is no different. You are no different, right? So when your spouse comes to you and say, hey, I thought that you knew, fill in the blank, and you're looking like, well, why would I know that? Sis, bruh, put yourself now and in your spouse's shoes, right? Your spouse is not just supposed to know just because you guys have been together for years. Especially if you've never expressed this need or expectation to him or to her before. You must consistently express, because we're forever changing. We're forever evolving into the next person. Right? I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but we're always growing, we're always evolving, we're always becoming better. And if you're not becoming better, you're actually becoming worse. So either way, you're still changing. Either becoming better or you're becoming worse. Either way, you're still changing. So why not change for the better? So consistently express the things that you need and express what your expectations are. So you're not sitting there mad and frustrated and annoyed and your spouse is looking like, what just happened? So open up your mouth, ladies. Open up your mouth, gentlemen. All right. The second thing is to talk about and support one another's individual goals, even if you do not agree with them. Because here's the thing. That goal was not placed in your heart. It was placed in your spouse's heart. Just like your goal was not placed in your spouse's heart, right? So you both have to think about, okay, this is not something that I would normally do. This is not something that I even want to think about doing. It's not my strong suit, right? But this is something that my spouse, that my baby wants to do. So let me just support her. Let me just support him in the thing that they want to do. And here's the thing. When you start to do that, you're going to see a deeper connection. You're going to see your spouse starting to slowly, especially if you broke down the barrier, really, the trust barrier, or the I can share anything with you barrier, right? Because you're making all these human ahs, or maybe you're thinking or saying it out loud. Why would you think that? Or why would you want to do that? That's stupid, right? So not realizing that whenever those words roll off your tongue, your spouse is not coming to tell you anything else about the things that they're dreaming of doing. You might experience it as a byproduct, but you won't be a part of the process of getting there. And guess what? The process is the most important thing about attaining your goal, because it teaches you on who you are becoming in the process, right? So again, talk about and support each other's individual goals. Of course, you're supporting the family goals, but I'm talking about the goals that you have for yourself as the individual within your relationship. You both should have some goals that you want to attain, and you both should be supportive of the other's goal or goals. The third thing is to be willing to compromise. Yes, this in compromise, please let me define compromise, because most people think that they're compromising when they are actually sacrificing. So compromising, or let me just define sacrificing first. Sacrificing is when your spouse does not want to do a thing, and then you just say, okay. That's the sacrifice. There are no talks of we'll do it later, or there are no talks of, okay, I'll do this now and then let's do something else later. So here's where compromise comes in, is the exact opposite, which when you're compromising with somebody, even though you don't want to do X things, such as maybe you don't want to go to the sporting event, you're like, you know what? Okay, here's the thing. You know that I'm really not into sports, but I want to be there with you and for you, and especially since you invited me. So yes, let's go to your sporting event. However, next time you have to come to my theater event, or you have to come to my ballet event, or something that your spouse is not interested in. So that's the compromise. The compromise means that you're giving up something today in order to gain something tomorrow or later on, because you can compromise in the same day. You can say, okay, we can go and get ice cream, even though I really want to sit on my couch. We can go get ice cream, but guess what? When we come back, I want to watch a movie. And yes, it's going to be a rom-com. For those of you who don't know what a rom-com is, it's a romantic comedy. Right? So that's the compromising. You're not just giving it up and just like, you never want to come with me. You never want to get hold up. That's sacrifice, which is why you're frustrated, which is why you're annoyed. You want to get into the habit of saying, okay, I don't want to do this, right? Because you want to speak your truth. I actually don't want to do this thing, but I'm going to go. I'm not going to complain, and I'm going to have a good time because I'm with you. However, now when we get back, or next week, or whenever your date is, that something is coming up that you want to do. Now you have to go and do this thing with me with no complaints. Have a good time on purpose, no matter what, right? So that's the compromise. That's compromise, and that's sacrifice. So be willing to compromise. You're not always going to do or want to do the things that you really want to do, like sit on the couch, or like go watch the football game, or like go drinking with the guys, or even hanging out with the girls, right? Because your spouse still wants some of that time from you. Or maybe your children, but we're really talking about your spouse here. We know the children. Oh, okay, that's a different story, right? Okay, so we're talking about your spouse here. So be willing to compromise with your spouse so you both can get your needs met. Maybe not at the same time, maybe not at the same date, but you both will eventually get your needs met, so you both can feel like you're getting what you need, as well as what you want, as well as what you like from the relationship, as well as from your partner. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to remember to continue to date each other. Yes, we're building everlasting intimacy here. Continue to date each other. And every time I talk to a couple that has been together for decades, this is something that always comes up. This is something that they always say. They never stopped dating. The other thing that they always say is that they never stopped having fun or laughing, right? So that's not on my list, but if you want to build a really true, great, extraordinary relationship, then you want to incorporate and keep the fun going, as well as the dates. Keep the new experiences coming, or even revisit some of the old experiences that you both really enjoyed doing together. So dating is one of the top foundational elements in any beautiful couple that definitely has everlasting intimacy. Continue to date each other. Number 5 is to see and respect your spouse for who he or she is. Not for the person that you want them to be, not for the person that you expect them to be, but the person that they currently are today. And hopefully your spouse is willing to become better, is working on himself, is working on herself, right? Because anytime you are taking the time to develop yourself, which is personal development, working on yourself, working on asking for the things that you need, asking for the things that you want, showing up and being very, very present, actively listening to the things that your spouse is asking for, right? So all of those things that you do, that you practice, will help you to become a better spouse, will help you to become a better partner. But you must respect the person that is right in front of you currently, even if they're not willing to work on themselves in that moment, because maybe they feel like you are pushing them. You're pushing your stuff off on him. You're pushing your stuff off on her. And none of us want to feel like we are being bullied into anything. Right? So the best way to get your spouse to jump on board is for you just to continue to grow yourself. And as you become even more mature, as you become even more understanding, absolutely, without a doubt, it will rub off on your spouse. It may take longer than you want it to take. Please understand that. But it will happen. The shift will occur if you stay the course. If you find this to be as important, then you will continue to do the things that you believe are going to shift and change and even turn your relationship around for the better. You have to be intentional and keep staying the course. Number 6 is to take ownership of who you are and the mistakes that you make. This is also showing your maturity as well. This is how we are creating everlasting intimacy, by showing up and saying, you know what, baby, I messed up. That was my fault. I will try my best not to do that again, because we're all human. You're going to mess up at some point. But if you're trying not to mess up, you have a better chance of not messing up, of creating and even reproducing the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over and over again. So take ownership, take responsibility for the things that you're doing, for the things that you're saying, for the ways that you're showing up, for the mistakes that you are making. This again is showing how much more mature and even growth has transpired from the person that you were yesterday to the person that you are becoming and currently are today. Take ownership. Number 7 is to never keep your feelings bottled up, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do it. Release them through communicating why you feel the way that you do, why that thing hurt you, and how you would like him or her to do or say the thing next time. Right? Because we want to go and complain. We want to say that it hurt, but we also want to come up with a solution. So we're not just leaving it at the complaint, or you never, or you always, because nobody never or always does anything. They may do it a lot, but I'm telling you, they never, and always do something. So these are the 7 ways to create everlasting intimacy. Let me know down in the comment section which one you are going to start to work on, because here's the thing. Doing one thing intentionally every day will turn your relationship around in the next year. That's 365 things every day that you're being intentional about doing. Your relationship will absolutely start to shift the way you want it to shift. But you have to be intentional about creating the relationship, the marriage, the love life that you want. Again, I'm MarshaunO, your favorite relationship strategist, and I help Christian women that are married or in long-term relationships to stop feeling disconnected and unloved and shift you to feeling heard, understood, and appreciated. Now, again, just as a reminder, by the way, right? Go ahead and download your free relationship resource library where you can also find tips in there to create your extraordinary relationship, right? And also improve even more on becoming and creating the intimate relationship that you want. I love you guys. There's nothing that you can do about it. And I will talk with you very, very soon. Bye.